Hello, my name is Ava Corbin, and I chose to do Chapter 5 for the presentation. So, nonverbal communication. It's not what you said, it's how you said it. This phrase single-handedly encompasses the reliance that we have on nonverbal communication. So, if you're just talking to someone, you can't only listen to the words they're saying, you have to listen to the tone of their voice and focus on their body language and their facial expressions and gestures. So, according to research, as much as 93% of meaning in any interaction is nonverbal. So, this is a chart of the percentages of how much of daily communication is verbal and nonverbal. And only 7% is the actual words coming out of someone's mouth. So, it's really important to focus on the rest of nonverbal communication when you're talking to somebody or listening to somebody. Okay, so the 6 functions of nonverbal communication: complimenting, contradicting, assenting, repeating, regulating, and substituting. First is complimenting. Complimenting is basically when the nonverbal and the verbal portions of speech complement each other. So, for example, this woman is fanning herself. So if she told you that she was hot, you would believe her because her actions complement her words. This woman looks like she's happy. So if she's telling you that she's happy, you would believe her because her nonverbal signals also complement her words. Next is contradicting, also known as mixed messages or a double bind. This is a situation in which nonverbal communication and verbal communication contradict each other. So for example, this woman is at a party. If she told you that she was having a great time and having lots of fun, you probably wouldn't believe her because her body language signals otherwise. This woman, if she told you that she wasn't cold, you probably wouldn't believe her because she's shivering and she looks cold. She's trying to keep herself warm. So that's another example of contradicting. Next is assenting. Assenting is a form of nonverbal communication that emphasizes a word or a part of a message. So these are the types of assenting in verbal communication, in nonverbal communication. If you wanted to read them, they're on the visual aid. But I'll just explain that. For example, if somebody pauses before saying something important, that is an example of assenting because they're trying to emphasize the important part of what they're saying. Next is repeating. Repeating is when the nonverbal signal that you're showing is repeating the meaning of the word that you're saying. So in this example, the boy is nodding his head yes, and he's saying yes at the same time. So his nodding is repeating the meaning of the word yes. In this example, the man is pointing while giving directions. So he is emphasizing his words and repeating the meaning of his words by pointing. Next is regulating. So regulating regulators are acts which maintain and regulate the back and forth nature of speaking and listening between two or more interactions. So this man here is using his gestures to regulate the conversation and continue it, while they're both making eye contact to keep the conversation going. If one of them was getting up and pushing away their chair or picking up their coffee, that would show that they're done with the conversation and don't want it to continue. Next is, and finally, is substituting. Nonverbal behavior that replaces verbal communication altogether. So, for example, this man is giving a thumbs up. He doesn't have to say anything, but you know what he means. You can also tell by his facial expression and the way that he carries his body. This example, he looks like he's saying, I don't know, but he's not saying any words. He's just shrugging his shoulders and using hand gestures and facial expressions to show what he means. So I'm going to show the video now and try to think of examples of any of these words at the top of the screen that I just talked about, and I'll ask at the end if you found any. Also, just listen to the video because it'll explain more about nonverbal communication.
What is nonverbal communication? We communicate with our words, but also with our actions. Communication is more than just what we say to each other. It also includes our facial expressions, gestures, and body language. They can add to our communication or even change the meaning of what we're saying. To be a good communicator, you need to be aware of nonverbal communication and understand what you're saying with your actions. In this video, we'll go over 3 major types of nonverbal communication. Then we'll talk about how you can use these skills to communicate with someone. Facial expressions. You probably already use this type of nonverbal communication without even realizing it. Usually, we don't think much about controlling our facial expressions. But facial expressions are important because they show people how you feel about something. If a friend tells you about something sad, you would probably make a serious expression to show that you understand how serious the situation is. If you decided to smile, the other person might think that you're taking their situation lightly, or you don't understand. It's confusing when someone's expression doesn't match up to the conversation. Being aware of this type of nonverbal communication can help you communicate better. Gestures. Many people rely on gestures as a sort of backup for communication. We might use them if we have trouble communicating with someone. If you're ordering ice cream in a busy shop and the cashier can't hear you, you might use your fingers to show them how many scoops of ice cream you want. Some common gestures can also help us communicate, like okay, the peace sign, and thumbs up. But some gestures mean different things in different cultures. If you're communicating with someone you don't know, it's important to think about which gestures you'll use. Body language. Body language is like facial expressions because we often use this type of communication without realizing it. But body language means communicating with your whole body, not just your face. It shows you how open or closed someone is to communicating. If someone's arms are crossed, they're looking away, and they aren't making eye contact, they might not want to talk to you. But what if they say hello with a handshake or elbow bump, have their arms at their sides, and make eye contact with you? This body language shows that they are much more open to communicating. Let's take a look at how you can use nonverbal communication skills to be a better communicator. Speaking to someone who is learning English. Dina works for a moving company and has a new coworker, Yuri. Yuri just moved to Canada from Russia and has only been learning English for 1 month. Dina and Yuri are packing boxes at a client's house. Yuri, can you take these 2 boxes to the truck? But leave these other 2 boxes here, Dina says. Yuri looks confused. Making eye contact, Dina puts up 2 fingers, points at the boxes that should go out to the truck, and points outside. Yuri understands, and he moves the boxes out to the truck. When Yuri gets back, Dina gives him a thumbs up and a smile, and Yuri smiles back. Dina used gestures as a backup method of communication when Yuri didn't understand her words. She made eye contact with Yuri and used clear body language to show what she meant. She also smiled when he completed the task, using a facial expression to show positivity. Mixed messages. Greg is the branch manager at a bank. One day, he walks over to Jalen, a bank teller. Hey Jalen, can you cover Nancy's shift tomorrow? You'd be really helping us out, Greg asked. Jalen crosses his arms, looks away, and says, yeah, I guess. Greg is confused. Jalen says he will work the extra shift, but it doesn't seem like he wants to. Are you sure? Greg asked. It's okay if you can't make it. Jalen turns to Greg and makes eye contact. I'd like to work the extra shift, but I need to do some family stuff tomorrow, he says. Okay, no problem, Greg says. Thanks for clarifying. I can ask someone else to take it instead. At first, Galen said one thing, but he really meant another. If Greg only listened to his words, he might not have understood the situation. But Greg thought about Galen's body language and asked questions. That helped him understand what Galen was saying. Understanding nonverbal communication is a very important part of becoming a good communicator. It can help you understand what other people are saying, and it can be a backup mode of communication if you have trouble. Looking out for these types of communication and using them when you're speaking with others will help you keep becoming a better communicator.
Okay, so did anyone find any of these examples in the video?
Yes.
Okay, which one did you find?
Hand gestures.
Okay, yes, there is many hand gestures in the video. I also found when she was communicating with someone from another country who spoke another language, she ended up using substituting because she didn't have to speak to communicate with him, and that was very helpful. Next is nonverbal communication used for relational purposes. So there's not very many friendships that you can get into without making eye contact with someone, or using hand gestures or facial expressions, or changing your tone of voice to make them know that you're interested. So these are important things to think about when you're making new friends, or when you're making new friends. So think about these when you're watching the next video, because there are many of these examples in the video that we're about to watch. So if you have any examples after, I'll ask. This one's shorter.
Didn't get far. Can't spend all summer with these comics.
Not comics, they're classics.
Give them a break, huh? Get outside. See if there's some kids around. There's a Chinese place up the road. I'll call ahead if you want to pick it up.
That's a classic. Great series.
It's my favorite.
I'm Corbin.
Jeremy.
New in town? Well, I'm going to this place. I could get you a discount.
I have them.
Even spider people?
First edition.
You're kidding.
Want to see? Dad, this is Corbin.
Where's the food?
Unbelievable.
Got that last year.
You've got to see my collection.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the video. Did anyone have any examples of those things on the board?
Lack of eye contact early on when the dad was talking to the son. And facial expressions. The father seemed upset. They both seemed kind of bummed about the move. Their facial expressions.
Yeah, I saw that, and the eye contact when they, when the boys first met in the store, they made eye contact, and then the tone of voice for the boy at the end, the son at the end, he was excited talking about the comic books too.
And the tone of voice of the dad because he was hungry and he didn't bring the food back.
He was pretty mad about that. So that's the end of the presentation. These are my sources, and thank you for listening.